Hello everyone, my name is Noreen Fakir, and now we're going to talk about FINTRAC and the obligation to report suspicious transactions. Okay, so you guys remember the purpose of FINTRAC. They're really there to detect and deter money laundering. So we have to work with them to do that. So first of all, any suspicious transaction or any attempt to do a suspicious transaction must be immediately reported to FINTRAC. So your client comes to see you to invest money, to buy insurance, whichever. The transaction seems weird to you, or the client, they're asking you weird questions and you're starting to ask and you're trying to get more information, and the client says, you know what, I don't want to complete this transaction anymore. In both cases, you have to let FINTRAC know. So some people think, oh, it's only if the client actually did the transaction. No, it's if they were trying to do the transaction, and then because they realize that you're asking a lot of questions, they stop midway, you still have to notify FINTRAC. So example of what would be considered a suspicious transaction: the client refuses to provide personal identification documents. As you guys know, when a client's coming to open up an account, you're always going to ask them for ID. So they'll pull out their driver's license or a passport, some type of photo ID usually, and they'll show you this. If the client refuses, right away, that's a red flag. Next one. A client is very interested in the cancellation of the product. So that's weird. Let's say your client comes to see you and they go, okay, I want to buy a whole life policy or a UL policy. They're very interested in a cash value. Let's say it's a UL. The client wants to deposit large amount in the UL, and they're asking, if I cancel this policy in 2 years or in 3 years, what happens? What's the procedure? That's odd. As you guys know, when you're buying these type of policies, you're buying them long-term. So it would be weird that the client, right away when they're purchasing it, they're already asking you about the procedure of cancellation. So again, another red flag. The client gives you a P.O. box address. Very weird. The client, obviously they live in a house, an apartment, a condo, they live somewhere in a street address. So they have to give you a street address for you to use. They can't just give you a P.O. box number. Or the transaction is unnecessarily complicated. So maybe the client's trying to create a complicated plan so it's hard to follow. Because again, you're attempting to do money laundering. So if you're like, this doesn't make sense, why are they making this so complicated? Again, it could also be another red flag that they're trying to do some type of money laundering. Okay? What's important to know here? You have the duty to report this. So as soon as your client's doing a suspicious transaction, or you believe that they were trying to, but you stop them by asking a lot of questions, you have an obligation to, again, to report this to FINTRAC. All of this is considered, personal. It's confidential. So they're not going to say that it's you that did the reporting. If you don't report it, so failure to report can lead to criminal charges. It's kind of like you're working with the client, you're helping the client deceive the government and deceive FINTRAC, and you're helping them do this money laundering. So again, you have to report it, you have to give all the information necessary, you're protected. Okay? So I hope that this helped you, and good luck in your studies.